Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about the Infrastructure Builders Program. My name is TUGY. I'm from Amforc.
My name is KUTSAL. I'm from Helikon.
So what is the Infrastructure Builders Program? The Infrastructure Builders Program is a collective of individual entities offering core infrastructure service for the Polkadot ecosystem, which includes RPC services for all the relay chains, Polkadot, Kusama, and West End, and all its corresponding parachains. Also boot nodes for all those chains. The services are paid for by the Kusama treasury. All services are deployed on a hardware all the members own and data center co-locations they have. The goal of the IBP is to provide a better end-user experience instead of having 10 individual RPC providers offering services just from their region. The idea is to have a collective of groups collectively covering the global, having a global coverage. So why the IBP? We believe it's really important to be independent from intermediary service providers like cloud providers. So also like we don't have any dependencies on jurisdictions because the members are distributed globally, and we are not dependent on big providers like AWS or Hetzner because we have our own hardware and data center. So we cannot just get kicked out of AWS or Hetzner like half a year ago or so. Solana was kicked out, all Solana validators were kicked out of Hetzner. We use latest gen hardware. It's a hard requirement for members to use NVMe Gen 4, which allows us to be massively more performant than other providers or compared to anyone using a cloud provider. We do not collect any data and don't do any rate limiting. We also do some virtual signaling. Everything is 100% green energy. Either your data center offers that or you can work with those certificates. Lately, there was a lot of talks about the light clients. Light client is great, but it's good for the current state of the network. You cannot use it for historical data, so that's where, again, RPC services come in.
Yes, so I'll briefly talk about the history and the current status of the program. So the first discussions were started by Tom from State Plus in October 2022. And then we had a bit of discussion, and then we started deploying things to kind of test test if the system is working. We're going to talk about how it works in a bit. And we deployed the POC, starting with 2 members, and it went up to 3 members. This was back in November 2022. And then we applied for a bounty. The bounty was activated in January 23, so we can say we are around 7 months into the program now. And in the meantime, we developed a decentralized monitoring application. This works by on top of a P2P network, and these monitor softwares, they gossip the health check data. They check the nodes and then gossip the health check data. So we have this decentralized system of monitors, and that's live now and being actively developed. And we now support 12 chains. It is 3 relay chains, Polkadot, Kusama, and West End, and 3 parachains per relay chain. And every member runs 2 RPC nodes per service and 1 boot node per service. That makes 36 nodes for every member. And our public endpoints are available at our website at ibp.network, the YK section, yk.ibp.network. So that's kind of like the current status of the program now. And we have 7 active members now, 3 of them in Europe, Amforc from Switzerland, Metaspan from the UK, Turboflakes covering Portugal, from North America, the founder of the program, Stake Plus from Virginia, and Central America, Gator in Costa Rica, in Middle East, Helikon, Istanbul, myself and my team, and in Africa, Dweller, serving from Nigeria. And this is kind of like a coverage map we have at the moment. Darker areas show better connection. And we have 5 pending members, and they are going to cover the rest of the areas, 2 in Asia, Raiding Block in India, Rodco Networks Thailand, Oceania, Polkadot is location to be announced. In North America, one more member, Lucky Friday. South America, Block Ops in Brazil, all being set up and getting prepared to serve. And this is what the coverage map is going to look like after we activate the rest of the 5 members, which will make us 12 members in total.
So how it works in general, technical, like all members are independent, so there's like no requirement what you have to use. So everyone can, all the members can build on top of the tech stack they are comfortable with and the hardware they prefer. In general, it's important that each member is capable of providing a high available setup. And this you usually build on some kind of hypervisor where you virtualize your stuff, usually Proxmox or ESXi. If you hate yourself, you can also use Hyper-V. Those stuff you deploy in a data center. Usually it's a full rack you have. There you have your router's firewall on the public facing way, and then switches for your internal stuff to connect everything, and then you have bare metal servers where the hypervisor you like is running on. And in general, how the access for the user works is currently there are 2 ways. One of them is GeoDNS, and you can access the services under either IBP.network or Daughters.network. And what GeoDNS does is, depending where the request is coming from, so depending on the source IP, it will give you a resolved domain to a different IP. So if you're in North America, want to access the Polkadot RPC node, you will get your traffic will get routed to Stake Plus, and this allows us also, like if a location goes down or something happens, we can immediately remove that person from that pool. So we're also not dependent on a single member of the IBP. What currently is still work in progress is Anycast. For this, it's the other way around, so it always gets resolved to the same IP, but then via BGP, it will get routed to the closest data center you have. So you usually have 6 or upwards multiple routes, and then it's always, and those are announced via your like regional internet provider, and the traffic just gets routed to the closest one. As an example setup, I will show our setup, what we use for the IBP. So we deployed in a former military bunker in Switzerland. We use 2 firewall appliances on the public face. Then we have 100 gigabit capable internal switch. In our case, it's important because we use shared storage. So there you need quite a big throughput, especially when you work with NVMe. And those switches usually also need to be able to handle a high peak of traffic in case like one of the cluster members goes down. We use Proxmox, which is a nice front end for KVM and KMU. Basically, it's open source. I'm a big fan of it. And there's like our IBP infrastructure. There are 3 servers which are running in a cluster. With Proxmox, you need 3 clusters so that you don't get a split brain if one of the members will go down. So like in general, how the access works, if you're using your wallet like Nova Wallet, you want to participate in governance, and if hopefully they use that IBP endpoints, then like if let's say you're in Switzerland, your traffic then gets routed to us. There, in our case, we run a HA proxy in front where the SSL termination is happening. Then the traffic gets low. If everything is running fine, it will just be traffic goes to one of the 2 RPC endpoints, and then the internal traffic is then also encrypted with our own CA. And so basically, all members have 2 nodes running, so you have the high availability there. This makes it easier to maintenance and everything, and those VMs run on top of a hypervisor where you again have the redundancy.
Another thing we do is, next to infrastructure services, we develop our own software. One piece of software is the IBP monitor. I mentioned about it. It's a decentralized monitoring system, and it's a full stack open source software. It has its front end and back end as well that does the monitoring and worker jobs that checks does multiple checks on these nodes we provide. And yeah, that's still being developed as well. And then we have a GeoDNS Manager repository that contains Go scripts that work with the GeoDNS systems. And then we have a website and a wiki. Wiki contains quite a bit of useful information for new members or the people who would like to run monitors. And there's one more piece of software development I'm going to talk about in a bit. Yes, this one. So future plans, as I mentioned before, we're at 7 active members, 5 pending members. So we plan to finish the deployment of those 5 pending members, which will get us pretty good coverage worldwide. And then 5 of the members, we founded a DAO, and we started working on that. This is a substrate-based DAO for this decentralized infrastructure community, provider community. And we already started developing the first palette. And yeah, I think we're going to gear up with the development of the palette and additional palettes for it. And yeah, it's basically going to turn into an incentivized service provision and monitoring system over time. And also in the plans is further geo expansion with the addition of new future members. And like we mentioned, we only do RPC at the moment, but over time we're planning to turn this into a cloud service provision system. We'll do RPC, of course, but on top of that, we'll have DNS systems, security systems, compute, storage, analytics, networking, and IoT. So the end goal for us, the vision is decentralized cloud service provision platform powered by Polkadot. That's where we're heading, and hopefully next year or the coming days, we'll have more news for you. Thanks.
So just one more thing. If you're building a dApp or anything, if you want to use those services, use them. There's no rate limiting, nothing. You will always get routed to the closest location. Also talk to the wallets here, like Talisman and Nova, convince them to use it as well. So yeah, thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Great, KUTSAL and TUGY. Thank you so much, guys. Well done. Great talk to wrap up. Polkadot in Paris, paris.com 2023 is almost done. Do we have any questions for our gentlemen? Oh, here we go. We got one. We got one.
What is infrastructure? Infrastructure is running everything that's broken by design and trying to make it work together.
Wow, how about that for a summary? That is how you summarize paris.com. Oh, Jonathan now wants to ask a question as well. TUGY, you're going to be back on the spot here. Jonathan has a question from Talisman. I think it has something to do with your dig at Talisman maybe, or promotion of Nova, probably.
It's not a dig or promotion. It's actually a proper question. What's the palette going to be? Like, what functionality is it going to have, and where is it going to be deployed?
I'll hand it over. I'm not involved in that part.
Okay.
So basically what we're doing now is the accepting of the new members. We do it like manually. We keep it in a file, and the process is quite manual. So we would like to do all that process on this node, the blockchain. Membership applications and acceptance of them, adding new services, and all of these are going to be on-chain, and we're probably going to switch to a governance model over time as well, so we can vote, the members can vote like on new services, new members, and we can incentivize monitoring and service provision, and the members who provide better services could be incentivized. The monitor providers could be incentivized, so all these things and more, probably.
And is it going to be deployed on any particular runtime, or like where's the palette going to exist?
Yeah, it is going to have its own node and have its own runtime as well. Cool. So we're probably going to evolve into a parachain over time. We'll probably start out as a solo chain, but evolve into a parachain over time. That's the plan for now. We'll see. We're applying to a few programs at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much, KUTSAL.